This is Aske from Badminton.com. Today I'm reviewing this Victor P9200 third generation badminton shoe. So this is a supportive shoe, which is typically meant for recreational players that are okay with the shoe being slightly bulkier in exchange for more cushioning or injury prevention. This shoe in particular is super cushioned, super comfortable, super soft. So with that in mind, let's begin. Before buying this Victor P9200 third generation, I was very confused because this one is the 55th anniversary edition, and it was confusing whether this is the exact same shoe as the original P9200 third generation. So I ended up contacting Victor's official customer service, and they confirmed via email that it is indeed the exact same shoe. It's just a different color and a different box that it comes in. You can find the screenshot of that email on my website in the text review. I'll leave a link below. With that in mind, let's get into the meat of this review. So the upper bit is this, the sides, the upper sides here, and the tongue, and the shoelaces. And so because this shoe is very cushioned and very soft, it feels almost like your foot is moving around within a pillow, whereas other supportive models, they might feel more stiff and more like they're locking themselves around the foot. It comes down to preference, because for what it's trying to do, this shoe is doing a great job. It's very soft and it's very comfortable. So if you prefer that, you'll love this shoe. I prefer something slightly stiffer. However, even though I like to tie the shoelaces quite tight, it feels like it's quite loose, not down here, but up here, which means that during games I often feel like I have to re-tie the very top bit. When I'm talking about the heel, I mostly notice the upper heel. This is a very comfortable and cushioned shoe, and so you'll see here that it has this sausage cushion all the way around here, which is nice around the ankle, very supportive and comfortable, but it can almost feel too soft sometimes. Like your foot or your ankle can move a little bit because this is so soft. The issue that I have with the shoe is that I feel the heel is a bit too low. I would like it to be taller. It feels like your foot could slip up and out of the shoe. But I think this is a matter of preference, where I like it slightly stiffer and some people, they like the extra comfort. So let's cover the outsole and the grip on this Victor P9200 third generation next. So first let me show you what it looks like. You can see here, this is a bit of an unusual design. It doesn't show us much underneath. So let's go directly to the grip. This is, as good as any flagship badminton shoe grip that I've tried. It's very similar to the one from Yonex. I prefer the ones from Yonex a little bit more. To me, they just have a slightly more gluey feel, but it's really a small difference. And if everything else about this shoe sounds good to you, I wouldn't pick a different shoe just because of the grip, because it probably comes down to like a minor difference in preference. The one thing that I did notice, however, was I'm beginning to get a bit of a tear here, which is common on the non-racket foot. I've at this point tested the shoe for about 20 hours on court. It feels a little bit early to be getting this mark. So it's just something to keep in mind, but otherwise this is an overall great grip, as you would expect from a high-end badminton shoe. Next up is the toe box, this area here. And typically when we're looking at the toe box, there's the upper bit inside the shoe, there's the front bit and the bottom bit. Normally what you'll see with similar shoes is that they will prioritize the front bit or the upper bit or vice versa. In this shoe, it feels like they just threw one big cushioning in there. It's super comfortable, especially if you're at the front court and you're doing hard stops, like your toes are bumping against the front of the shoe. Then I don't think you'll have any issues. I haven't noticed any problems, and my footwork isn't that great, and I'm often, late to the shuttle and have to do very deep lunges, and here it's no issue at all. This is one of the simpler ones where it's just you're getting a ton of cushioning in the toe box. In this Victor P9200 third generation review, we have the midsole and we have cushioning and we have shock absorption. Normally, you know, like we have the outsole here and you have the midsole somewhere here on top, and then you have the insole. Victor has done something differently here, which is they have made this drop-in midsole, they call it. And the drop-in midsole combines the midsole with the insole, which means that when you get the box, you get this like tiny insole that where you would normally put it on top, you put it underneath, and it comes with double-sided tape, so you stick it into the shoe and then you put this one on top of it, and you can take this one out easily if you want to. It's really comfortable when you're landing from, say, a jump smash maybe, or when you're landing and you're late to a lunge at the front court. I don't know if you're able to see here like how it's how much I can push it down. It's quite thick. One of the odd things that I've noticed with this one is when you put your foot into the shoe, it's quite resistant. It's quite hard to get your foot in nicely, but once it's in there, it feels very locked in and very, you know, slip resistant. For me, this is a very exciting addition and the best that I've tried in terms of like midsole, shock absorption and cushioning. We move on to the verdict. Let's talk about durability. And I've had this one on court for about 20 hours or so by now. That's not nearly enough time to see like, you know, how it's going to last up over months. So I use this measurement from the non-racket foot, this inner bit here, which is usually sliding against the floor when we're lunging. I call this the lunge tear, and you can see here there is virtually no tear. There's virtually nothing. If we compare with this other shoe, this is the Yonex Comfort Z that I've had on court for, you know, maybe a little bit more, maybe 30 hours or so, but fairly close, right? You can see here how there's a clear tear. It's not gonna go through, it stayed like this for a long time, but this came after, you know, 5 hours on court or something, very quickly. And then it just kind of stays like that. Then compared to this, there is nothing to see. So that is a very good sign. I do notice a little bit of a, like I guess a tear, we can call it here, when you're sliding against the floor, which is not visible at all. It would be here. Let's move on to the verdict. Get to the conclusion and the verdict of this Victor P9200 third generation. So first, let me recap. This is a supportive shoe. It's bulkier and heavier than your typical all-around badminton shoe. It is super soft, it's super cushioned, it's super comfortable all around. If you're into that, you'll love this shoe. Especially for me, the positives was the midsole. It's amazing when you're landing from jumps, or if you're late and you're doing like really deep lunges to retrieve the shuttle. I have felt like little to none fatigue after playing. I'm not talking about feeling tired, I'm talking about like fatigue underneath the foot. This has just been so cushioned compared to many other, even supportive shoes that I've tested. A drop-in midsole seems to be terrific and very slide resistant. The downside is, for sure, it is bulkier and heavier. You'll especially notice it at, you know, longer sessions that are longer than 2 hours, where you get really tired, or really intense games towards the end. It might feel, you know, extra heavy. You might feel extra tired from wearing it. But other than that, I haven't noticed this like, you know, bulkier. It's not more bulky than the typical supportive shoe. However, it can get quite hot. So I play in an environment that is super hot, which is let's say 30 to 35 degrees Celsius, which I'm guessing is maybe 100 degrees or so Fahrenheit. You know, midday, hot sun indoors. There, I've noticed my feet sweating like a couple of times, not every time. So this has not been a big deal for me. But if you're into, you know, a more softer shoe instead of a more stiff and injury preventive type of supportive shoe, then you'll probably love this one, even at full price. I believe the typical full price is $150 or so. I got it on sale in Singapore for about $100 because I believe they're phasing out this 55th anniversary edition. So if you're looking for this shoe in general, you might be able to get a deal online. And for that price, it's a steal because it's a high-end flagship shoe. You can also go to my website and you can see the review and you can see how I've ranked the metrics for each of the chapters that I've covered. I'll leave a link to that below. And you will also be able to see a direct comparison between this shoe and other similar shoes. This is Aske from Badminton checking out. See you in the next one.